I remember being 16, coming home from my first interview, about as excited as a kid could be, ready to tell my parents how I just aced this interview. Waiting there was my late father to bring me back down to earth, tell me how it went. It went really good. I mean, we talked about strengths and weaknesses, how long I see myself working at the company. I told him all the good things about myself, but I also said I probably wouldn't be able to work though come the fall because I have to go back to school and football and everything. And my dad just goes, "You're not going to get that job, Brian." He was right. Fast forward to 21, coming home from college, that first interview, a big job I'm going to have for the rest of my life. Nailed it again. Entry level. Came home to tell my father about, or both of my parents, about how it all went, and my father said, "Tell me how it went." I said it went really well. We talked about strengths, weaknesses, how my work experience and football and school all translate to this job. They asked me what I wanted to do with my life, and I said that I wanted to maybe own my own business one day, but maybe even be a manager, a president of this company, but definitely not going to be doing whatever they hired me for long, right? And I even gave a suggestion that their website was a little hard to navigate, maybe create an application. And he goes, "You did what?" Now my mom was a lot sweeter. She butted in and said, "Now Brian, in these interviews, people are trusting they're hiring you to do a job, and they need to understand that you're going to do that job you're there to do." Now I never took a piece of my mom's advice for granted, but I couldn't help but wonder, why the hell did they ask? And why would they expect me to be honest about my past and present, but not about my future? I guess I didn't feel like the hero that I thought I was. Now, speaking of heroes, look at all these heroes here tonight. There's a lot of us, right? Heroes on our quest. Overcoming adversity in pursuit of glory, great warriors of the mind, body, and soul. But doesn't it feel like you're trapped in your alter ego more often than not? Now, speaking of heroes and craftsmen, our earliest heroes were craftsmen, but back then they weren't crafts, they were jobs. Make no mistake about it, they still are the backbone of our economy. Now, the craftsman has evolved over time, but they've also gone on a little bit of a roller coaster. Our craftsmen turned into apprentices, who turned into scholars, who turned into everyday workers. Machines replaced crafts, and crafts turned into industry trades like operations, logistics, support, research, and development. Those crafts that couldn't find a trade, they turned into gifts or hobbies sold at farmers markets. Now, for me, I never had a craft. I had a ton of hobbies. I had ADD, so everything looked fun. It was always on to the next activity, sport, idea. And it felt like my love for that next thing was kind of like my cross to bear, because I never spent enough time in one thing to truly feel like I had a craft. I guess I never felt fulfilled. I wonder if you can relate. Now, Webster defines fulfill as to develop the full potentialities of. It's my belief that we weigh a great deal of our life on fulfillment, but we judge a lot of our day-to-day more so on that happiness factor. And a lot of our happiness is determined by where we spend most of our time, which is the workplace. So, how happy are we at work? 41% of people are reported to be happy most of the time. 26% of people were reported to be happy almost never at work. And in this survey by iMercer.com or personalgroup.com, 63% of self-employed people were reported to be happy most of the time. So, what happened to happiness? Well, it's my belief that with time, success, failure, turnover, these groups of individuals feeling fulfilled, working towards a purpose, they turned into this big, boring machine. Companies turned themselves into the heroes on the mission and sold that to their employees. And not only did we get caught in our company's mission and our own day-to-day, but we lost sight of the role that we play in the 8 billion other people's journey happening around us. As that authenticity faded away, it trickled down into a lack of fulfillment, which produces unhappiness. And unhappiness, it's like bad weather. You don't care what it changes to, just as long as it's not what it is right now. Doesn't always mean good weather, just means better. But in the workplace, that's when the dating game starts, right? We put on our best outfits, fluff up our resumes, we chase salaries and leave the negatives behind and never look back. Businesses, they do the same. Through amenities, perks, work from home, vacation time incentives, they make themselves look very appealing. And this happens from job to job, interview to interview, and you think we'd be happier and stay longer, right? Turnover over the past 3 years has risen from 44 to 57.3%. Now, obviously, COVID played a little bit of a role in that. But in that same time frame, voluntary turnover rose from 18 to 25%. In that same time frame, I think it's also important to consider the average time that an American holds a job is held steady at about 4 years, but that differs vastly by age group. Those 55 to 64 have a median tenure of almost 10 years, and those 25 to 34, 2.8 years. So it's not like we're leaving for less when we leave these jobs, right? Rightfully so, we deserve more. So what are we leaving our jobs for? In a study by iMercer.com, a multiple choice survey, people were asked, what are the reasons you're leaving your job? 81% report better job, 69% for personal or family reasons, 42% for relocation, and 39% for better pay. Now, it's my belief that when you ask this question a different way, you get very different results because it's not about what, it's about why, right? So, it's the rise of the side hustle, the dawn of a new age. 46% of us have a side hustle. It's not just that. 1 in 3 of us report that as a necessity in our lives, a income that we rely on, meaning that they've either built it up to be a successful job or it's something they rely on as a second job. Now, it's not just our entrepreneurs and side hustlers, it's our hobbyists, career workers, parents, artists too. Many of us in a mad dash just to keep up with a new age, an age where empowerment's DIY, and you can do virtually anything in your quest for fulfillment. I believe that missing link between employees and employers is that mutual understanding of why. I did my Google research. 15 reasons why people leave their jobs, 21 reasons why people quit, but everything that you find, I believe you can boil down into these 3 categories: pay, growth, and connection. People want to get paid more, incentivized more, they want to feel valued and heard and connected to their workplace, but more often than not, people want to further progress their career and skill set. And when we're considering the definition of fulfillment, to develop the full potentialities of, are we not talking about growth? So, I ask you the question, how do we maintain the productivity of a business while enabling fulfillment? We have to hire to fire. We have to change the attitude from our businesses to that of a trade school or a professional team. By passing on good people because one or both sides aren't comfortable sharing their agenda, you're letting them go to make someone else's company better. We have to do away with this idea that we're hiring people to stick around for as long as we deem them valuable and start looking at their time spent with the company as a chance to make the most of their talents while they're employed. By viewing personal aspirations, talents, and hobbies as a threat, that's a threatening mindset to your business. So, in order to do this, we have to start with communication. We have to lift that veil of the corporate BS and understand people's journey on their course towards fulfillment. One thing I never understood was that not so untruthful process, a tango of the interview process, which was, you want to be president? Shooting too high. Okay with what you're here to do? Not driven enough. How long do you see yourself working here? Mark me down for the end of time, please, and my kids too. We both know that neither of us want to work here for the rest of our lives. We both know we have lives outside of this. The one thing that we don't know, the one thing that we want to agree on is, can you do the job you're being hired to do? Thanks, Mom. So when I became a business owner, I was presented with a very unique opportunity, a chance to break this cycle. I was approached by an employee in an attempt to be open and honest. This employee mentioned that they had just entered parenthood. They had also started monetizing passions and hobbies on the side. This person asked for a flexible work schedule, amongst other things. And I think at first I reacted as any employer would, as my employers did. This person's checked out. It's only a matter of time before they're gone. How do I get rid of them sooner? They're wasting my money. And as soon as that thought popped up, I think with it came Polly the parrot. Hypocrite. Like, how could we possibly expect people to care about their job that they're here to do when we say, just worry about the job you're here to do? That was me. By having these conversations, you're going to find that there's unrealized talent all around your workplace. This individual actually turned out to run a pretty successful business. Maybe your new driver's a phenomenal digital artist, or your prospect for HR comes from a tech background and can help bring your company to the 21st century. Either way, your employees are going to start to feel heard. And what you're going to do is start to enable them on their journey. One thing I didn't mention before, one thing that I had never done that this employee did, was they asked for advice on their business. And I leapt at that opportunity because not only am I getting a chance to empower and coach and enable them for the job they're doing now, I'm making them better for wherever they're going next. That's my alumni. And not only do I want to be proud of whatever they accomplish in their lives, but I want them to be proud of the time that they spent with our company. By doing this, you're going to become the hero and the guide in both journeys. You're going to start to enable them to fulfill their purpose, to move towards their end goal. Set that growth and exit plan early. Don't push them out the door. Help them feel comfortable with taking that next step in their lives, to leaping and taking a chance on themselves and knowing when that right time is. Don't just enable and support your side hustlers, promote them. Have a work fair night for all of your side hustlers and show off that talent that's in your workplace. And what you're going to find is that retention comes in more ways than just keeping people around their whole lives and all that good stuff. It's going to come back in the forms of referrals, lasting business, new talent, and maybe you keep those people around that do believe in your mission and your purpose of your company. So I'd like to invite you to a new type of interview. Welcome to our company. We care deeply about your passions. I am here to hire you. I hope I can teach you how to fire yourself. Thanks, guys.